so sick of this weekend. I don't even want to get here.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back to another episode of This Takes the Cake. My name's Caroline.
I'm Sarah. Good morning.
And we've actually never been on a podcast together before.
It's crazy,
I
right?
know. We literally just hang out every single day in the office, but we've never been on here together. So we're going to tell you a little bit about how we met and, first impressions, all the things.
Yes.
So my first impression of Sarah, I was like terrified of her, but in the best way. Like in a way I was like, wow, like I want to be like that one day, but like also so scary. Like she's scary, but in a good way.
So how did you hear about us originally?
Oh my gosh. Actually, Alyssa.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course. I feel like it always
Everyone
goes back
knows
to Alyssa.
Right?
Yeah. I knew her when she was Alyssa Gore.
Right.
So
Yes. That's how she still is in my phone.
Yeah.
She's always Alyssa Gore.
Right. I actually followed you guys on Instagram in like 2019 because I saw Alyssa's post and she had like the cutest photo shoot with like balloons, I think. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I know exactly what photo shoot you're talking about.
And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? This looks so fun. I was literally going to school to be a teacher and I followed you guys on Instagram. And then Maddie Corey, like fast forward years later.
Right? Yeah. It's 2024 now. So
yeah. Maddie Corey texts me and she's like, Caroline, you need to sign up for weddings on the weekend. You would love this. You would love Sarah. She was like, I just started doing it. And I'm like, okay. So I emailed you.
She did email.
And funny story, I went on the website to email and I entered all my information and I was just sitting at my little desk job at the time. And I would get on SMV's website every single day. Like multiple times a day.
So I'm going to give everyone a little secret about our website. So if you inquire on our website through our contact page, every time you go back to the website, it tells us when you're on there.
So every time I got on, it said Caroline Green is viewing your website.
Caroline Green. I'm like, who is this girl?
And when I found that out, I was like, stop.
That was awesome.
But yep, Sarah interviewed me for Weekend Help. I was literally so nervous.
Were you?
Oh my gosh, I was freaking out. I was like going into it and I was like, okay, we're going to slay. We're going to kill this. Then in it, I was like, oh my God, Sarah's interviewing me? Like, shit.
So we interviewed at the old office.
Yep.
But it was very like casual.
It was so
right?
chill. Oh, it was like the most fun questions. Like, what's your favorite vacation? She did ask me 3 adjectives to describe myself. And I was like, in my head at that moment, I'm like, what's an adjective? I'm like, oh, that's such a tough one. But I did something right. Clearly, we're here.
I do remember the one thing I do remember was she told me she wanted to make a lot of money.
Yes, you guys.
She said that.
I loved working weddings so much. I came to Sarah and I said, I'm going to make a lot of money and I want you to help me do it. And she was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
I got you.
The rest is history. And now we're just hanging out on the best podcast you've ever listened to. So
that's right.
Yeah. What was your first impression of me?
First impression of you? Well, no, I'm just trying to think. The first time I met you was in the interview.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I was thinking about the first wedding we did. That's where I really got my first impression.
Oh, so. I was like, this is a whole new world. Like, oh my gosh.
So obviously from the interview, I thought you were awesome. But from like first impression, because you don't really know somebody until like you work a wedding with them, you really get to know someone. And I knew she was going to be a ride or die because she worked till the end. She didn't ask to go home early. She didn't make any excuses. And she took the bottom tier of the cake home.
I was just going to say, and she sent me home with a present of like a 40-pound bottom tier cake.
Whose wedding was that?
It was
that Caledonia?
Bailey's wedding.
Oh, was it Bailey's?
I think.
Okay.
She was super sweet.
She's awesome. She's really cool.
It was so much fun. My feet did hurt the next day, and that has not changed. But if that's the only downside, I'll take it.
Right.
Fine.
The feet are barking.
Yeah.
The dogs are barking.
The dogs are barking.
The dogs are barking. Sorry.
Yes. But I feel like I've learned a lot of cool things from you.
Yeah.
One of them, I think the biggest lesson is
I'm scared.
I know she's like, oh my God, what is she going to say? Okay. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. If someone tells you no, you're not talking to the right person.
That's right. Amen. They'll take no for an answer.
And don't get mad at money.
Don't get mad at money. Nope.
Yep.
They say no, there's another way around it.
Mm-hmm. And that's like on some Christianer.
Yeah, and that's
vibes.
like when you say like the LY words.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yep. You got to watch that video, that TED Talk.
That means there's another way to do it because typically we do it this way, but we're going to do it this way.
Yeah. You feel like you get what you want. I like it.
That's right.
But anyway, that's just a little bit about us. But we're
Yes.
going to talk to you guys about rehearsal dinners today.
I love it.
I love rehearsal dinners.
I know, they're just fun and chill.
They're so chill.
And really there for like 4 hours.
I know. And I feel like it just makes wedding day like so much more cool because you just bond with the clients a little
and you
bit
already
before.
kind of know them and you're not just showing up. No, I agree.
So they just come up to you wedding day and it's like we're besties already.
Yeah.
You know? Not like we've, obviously been planning it for so
Right.
long, but we actually get to hang out with them longer. So let's see. Let's go into a few things. What would you say are a few things that we do to kind of make rehearsal run smoother? Little tips and tricks.
Yes.
Maybe we can chat on like chalkboard trick and
Of
VPA.
course. So I've experienced bad rehearsals.
Okay.
Just like being in a wedding or being part of a wedding, not necessarily we were planning it. And I really saw how like unorganized a rehearsal is, especially like at certain churches and things I would go to. And I'm like, oh my God. Like
I could see how it get chaotic.
yeah. And
quick.
they just, because for a rehearsal, I really have to study. I have to study the names. I have to kind of know the order. And don't get me wrong, you get to rehearsal and sometimes they just like throw that away and they give you a whole new thing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But that's fine. I mean, I guess that is what rehearsal is for.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying for sure.
And then sometimes I've had brides be very anxious. And I'm like, well, that's why we're here to rehearse. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Change it up, switch it up. So we use chalkboards. It's very
It's my
kindergarten.
favorite.
Yeah, it's very kindergarten, but you can line up 24 people at rehearsal in 15
Yes.
seconds.
You just have to say, go find your name.
Yeah, go find your name. And
Yeah.
so on the left, for the most part, is all the girls, and
Yep.
on the right is all the guys. And we lay their chalkboards out. They're about 1.5 feet from each other. And it's so funny sometimes. They're like, do I stand in front? Do I stand behind?
Oh my gosh, I know.
I'm like, it's just there
And
for
the
you.
question, I hear this every rehearsal, are these going to be here tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No.
No. Remember that
No.
crazy bride we had? We
Are you
had
talking
to,
about the tees?
we had to put
Golf tees.
golf tees
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
in
In
the grass. And the
You
grass was
couldn't
like
see
this
them.
tall.
Yeah. You couldn't see them. It was totally pointless, but
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
chalkboards for sure, 1,000%. That helps with that. And a big thing for rehearsal to really help is to make sure that you've talked to the officiant and you're there for a team,
Yeah.
He's going to do his part. You're going to get everybody orchestrated, lined up, all those good things. Because I've had some officiants just make it even more unorganized.
Do you have like a rehearsal horror story?
Rehearsal horror story.
I mean, I get like, I don't really have anything terrible that's happened other than, people that are late and then it just
Yeah,
kind of holds
late.
up.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean, other things to make rehearsal run smooth is obviously having your ducks in a row, obviously knowing who's walking behind who. And rehearsal is probably the hardest part of a wedding.
you think so?
Yeah. Because people forget. You rehearse and then you show up and they act like they weren't there yesterday.
Yeah.
I
I always
literally-
tell them like, I'm going to be here tomorrow and I'm going to tell you exactly when to walk. So like, just that should ease
Like
your mind
sometimes
a
I've
little.
joked. I'm like, wait, were you here yesterday?
Yeah.
Like, did you? Because you're supposed to remember.
I think it's always good too to like, first impressions are everything. So like you can't be scared to like be like, hey guys, like
yeah.
at first because you're gonna be their go-to person, So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's probably a big thing too at rehearsal is they're just as nervous as
Yeah.
you are being there. So
and it makes them trust you a little more. They're like, okay, like I'm not as nervous. I can go to her if I have questions or if I mess up or don't know when to walk.
right, no, totally. And at rehearsal, telling the maid of honor, whoever's helping fluff the dress, who's taking the bouquet, who has the rings, how are they walking up, is there a
Literally
microphone?
practicing getting married. Yeah.
Practicing makes perfect.
But it's fun. I mean, you get to see it, They
Yeah.
get excited and sometimes they're like, okay, like can we go to rehearsal dinner now? But it really doesn't last that long, I don't think.
A rehearsal really shouldn't last more than 20 minutes. You know what I hate about rehearsals? When the officiant goes through every freaking word.
I hate that too.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, save it for wedding day. Just let them know, okay, now we're going to, this is what I'm going to say. Oh my God, I've had some rehearsals run really long because of that.
I've kind of learned my lesson the hard way with that. I feel like, I would tell them like, go ahead and practice it. And now I'll kind of say, if there's anything you feel like you need to, go ahead. But other
Short
than
and
that,
sweet.
we're just going to run through it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
No,
then
for
everyone's just like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
But then another one of my favorite parts is bridal party agendas.
Yes,
I think that makes us a little different.
it does for sure. So we create a bridal party agenda. We send that to obviously the bridesmaids, groomsmen, and so they know where to be, what time. It has our cell phone on it, so if they have any questions, they can text or call us.
Yep.
And
What's the joke you make? I feel like you.
I make a joke.
I don't know. I think it was you. I picked
I make
up
a
on
lot of
it, and you're like,
jokes.
I don't know if you need like, even if it's Taco Bell at like 2 a.m., don't bother the bride or groom or something. I don't know.
Right? Probably.
Basically, just saying like, if you need anything, let us know,
Yeah.
not them.
Yeah, don't text the bride and ask her what time to be. And hopefully from that bridal party agenda, it's just a little one pager and it tells them where to be, what time, transportation, all those things. Because some of these clients have 20, 30 people in their bridal party.
Yeah,
Between
and
the
then they're gonna
moms and the
ask you
dads.
anyway. So, especially like for the type A brides, they're probably like, thank God, like
Yes.
they probably already have this done already for
Yeah.
their people, but it kind of gives them a sense of mind that we're
It does. And we physically pass them out as well.
Mhm.
And also tell them to take a picture on their phone too, so in
The
case
groomsmen usually care less,
Yeah,
but the bridesmaids
exactly.
love it.
Yeah, normally when I go over the agenda, I'm like, okay, boys need to be here at 2:00, and
Mhm.
then we'll go from there.
Yep, we'll tell you. We got you.
Because they'll forget.
But then, after that, that's usually like the last thing that we do is, send them off with that bridal party agenda.
Mhm.
And then we go to rehearsal dinner, which is so fun.
Yes,
Do you want to kind of start with like traditions of rehearsal dinner?
of course, absolutely. So, I mean, everything's a little non-traditional these days, but
Yeah.
the true traditional things is having a groom's cake.
I love a groom's cake, like a fun groom's
Yeah,
cake.
and a lot of people that come from the north are like, "What's a groom's cake?"
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh," and a lot of times it's a surprise for the groom.
Yeah.
So either that could be a favorite team, a sport. It could
We've
be
seen so many
a cool dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Like a
crazy.
stadium cake,
Yes.
a Yeti cooler.
Yeah.
What else have we seen? A dog. Those are cool.
Yeah, those are definitely really cool.
Yeah.
And a tradition to that is it being chocolate flavored.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
Yep.
Huh.
No, for sure.
So, how far out do you think that rehearsal dinner should be planned? I know we start with wedding, like,
Yeah,
pretty
wedding.
far in
Yeah,
advance.
rehearsal dinner. It depends on where they're having it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say a lot of times when the wedding starts, I would go ahead and lock in the venue for the rehearsal dinner. Not
Mhm.
necessarily start planning 6 months out. I mean,
So, how do you feel about like rehearsal dinner being at the same location as the wedding?
I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. If
I
your
think it should be
guests-
close though.
It should be close for sure. Don't be making people drive from,
Yeah.
XYZ and making a big loop.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you're coming from out of town, you want to experience different places.
I agree.
So, for instance, if you're getting married in Debedu, I love when they do a rehearsal dinner at Frank's.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get a different
Those are
vibe
always
for
so pretty.
food, and
Mhm.
a whole different experience. So,
I feel like this is just my personal opinion. I think like plated dinner pairs well with rehearsal dinner well, and then like stations for wedding.
amen. Agree.
Yeah.
1000%.
I love it.
I'm working on a rehearsal dinner right now. It's a plated dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
It just like makes sense in my brain.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Nope. Agree.
So I feel like this is people could get if people that aren't in the industry could get really confused about this.
Okay.
Like, is rehearsal dinner separate than welcome party, and why?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, rehearsal dinner for the most part is immediate family, obviously the bridesmaids, groomsmen, bride and groom, and normally
people.
that's anywhere from 30 to 60, 75 people. And that is an intimate dinner. They can have toast, all those good things.
Toast
Yes.
at rehearsal dinner.
Toast at rehearsal dinner. Did you hear
Yes.
us?
Toast at rehearsal dinner. Not wedding day.
Not 30 minutes on your wedding day.
No. You'll thank us later.
And then the welcome party, I mean, that's where you invite everybody.
Yeah.
So that's when you invite if 75 people at rehearsal dinner, you invite the other 125 people to the welcome party. And don't do it too late.
No, because wedding day is so long.
Yeah. And some people will be like, oh, I want to do it at 9. I'm like, well, let me tell you, if I'm coming to your wedding, I'm coming in from out of town. Probably not coming to your welcome party at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. But I mean, with that being said, I think if you do have a lot of out of town guests, that should persuade you more to have a welcome party.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Just so you can make their experience like,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think like a 7:38 is a good.
Yeah.
You don't have to serve them full dinner, but they still get drinks
Yeah,
and
little
some food.
pass,
Yeah.
snacks, things like that.
Exactly.
So when it comes to welcome party, like, do you think that this should have like DJs and bands and photo booths, like, or do you think it should be like more low key?
Maybe not photo booth, but definitely a good smaller vibe band. I
Yeah.
love that.
Same.
Just really like chill,
Yeah.
food, drinks,
Mingly.
mingling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really like dancing because you don't want to take it away from wedding.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I get this question a lot, like during the planning process, just guiding the bride. Who pays for rehearsal dinner and welcome party? Is that something, the couple should take care of? Like bride, mom and dad, groom's mom and
So
dad?
etiquette, traditional, that's the groom's side.
Yeah.
So groom's family takes care of the dinner, the food, the bar, the venue, the cake, everything that would deal with the night before.
Yeah. It's kind of their night to host.
They're nice to host, absolutely. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we've seen it all different ways. I've seen bride's family take care of, I've seen the bride and groom take care of,
I mean, like you said, like nothing's like really traditional anymore.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
if you did want to be, we do have those clients who are like, no, we're very traditional and we want to, check every traditional box. But
right, no, absolutely.
Do you have a crazy story?
Yes, I do actually. So this was a few years ago, and we had a rehearsal dinner and then a welcome party. And rehearsal dinner, the groom came up to me and said he wasn't feeling well. I was like, oh, okay. Is there anything I can do for you, get for you? And
that's not fun.
And then I didn't see him anymore.
Oh?
He was not a part of the rehearsal dinner or the welcome party. He was back at the house, not feeling good.
And the party, show went on?
Show went on. And then
where was the bride?
She was there. And then the wedding, he didn't come to the wedding either. We had a wedding without a groom.
What?
Have you ever told this story?
I don't know. I feel like you've touched on like someone being sick, but I don't know if we've heard the whole thing. Like, what did you do when like they were being announced and like, I mean, the whole day is like on them
for the wedding.
Yeah.
So it was very fly by the seat of your pants. So there was no longer a ceremony.
Oh,
because how do you have a ceremony without the groom, right?
What they do? Was she freaking out?
She didn't show up, but she was. So she got dressed, and there was no ceremony. So when people came for the ceremony, it was just cocktail hour, and then we transitioned into the tent, and we had a wedding with no groom.
So you had just a big old party.
And like it was like, I'll never forget this, like 8 o'clock halfway through, and they had like this big long table for like the bridal party to sit, and she was crying because his seat was there. She's like, "Can you please take it away?"
Oh my God, the drama.
I was like, "Sure."
Like, what? That's funny.
I want to know if they're still married though.
Yeah. Do you like?
I need to look them up.
Do you know if there was beef? I like would be like, listen, I don't care if you're sick. We planned for so long. We're either going to come together or we're not going to be here together. Like,
ride or die.
Yeah. Like
either you're here or you're dead.
Yeah. Show up. Like something.
Yep. So
that's embarrassing.
He was not present.
Oh my gosh.
It was very bizarre.
Yeah, there has to be something.
Oh, I forgot. I did this too. I forgot. Oh my God. So of course he wasn't at welcome party rehearsal dinner because he was sick. So that night, now that I think about this, I don't know if it was a good idea. We might have to throw some photos in of this because I definitely have the photos. I asked for a picture of him because when I used to travel, this was way back in the day. Have you ever heard of Flat Stanley?
No.
Okay. So when you travel without your significant other, you take a picture of that person with you and you take photos.
Okay. Cute.
So I thought it'd be great to make fat heads of this dude.
Okay.
So
oh my God.
I'm not kidding. The more I think about it, I wonder if they're still married.
This is your thought at rehearsal dinner, like day before.
Yeah, day before. So
Okay.
I got a photo and I got 8x10s printed at
This is like the trend with like bachelorettes right now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But
this was before it was cool.
Yeah.
And I got 8x10s and got not popsicle sticks. They were like the bigger things.
Yeah.
And the next morning I went to the bridesmaid's house and they helped me cut them out and put them on cardboard.
Oh my God.
And so at the wedding, they were taking photos.
He was there.
Who's there? He's there in spirit. He would have been.
That is so something that you would do. Like I can see you just being like, "Yep, this is what we're gonna do."
Now that I think about that, I'm like, I don't know if that was a good idea.
Yeah. Well, she was probably like, there had to have been like, I don't think he was just sick.
No.
Like, there's no way.
I'm sorry.
That's
you need to be in the
weird.
hospital dying if you're not.
Run over.
If you're my fiance and you're supposed to be at the wedding. And I mean, we're talking a 6-figure wedding. We're not talking little backyard barbecue.
I could not imagine. As a planner, like, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably be texting you like
Like that definitely takes the cake.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
What are some other cool ideas, guest experience that you've seen at rehearsal dinners or welcome parties to keep everyone engaged?
Well, I feel like, and this is kind of off the like vendors, I feel like having a photographer definitely is worth it.
Absolutely. You know how many people cheap out on that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just 2 hours.
Yeah, it's so worth it.
And there's a lot of times we've had really cool rehearsal dinners and we don't have any like good quality professional photos.
That's where we come in when we're like content.
Yeah.
Because it's so good. And I think it's cool, like, well, this is just in general, having a rehearsal dinner and welcome party, like being the bride. I feel like it's so cool because you can I feel like you order like 1 million white dresses.
Right. Yeah.
So you can have like that extra moment to like shine in your like second best white dress. But
nope. Agree.
Cool things. I feel like the little past apps, like you can get like really creative with it.
Yes.
Like you can like brand your like little past apps or, you know, make something cute like stations or, well, when I say stations, I mean like interactive stations that could be cool.
No, yeah, for sure.
You know?
We had a rehearsal dinner not too long ago and they had marble slab ice cream come out.
Yes.
And they literally bring the slab. I mean, and as inexpensive that was the one thing I remember from the rehearsal dinner was eating ice cream.
Have you ever had the people that have like their like dresses and it's like champagne like in their outfit?
But not at like a rehearsal dinner. But that is cool though.
Yeah. I think anything like interactive would be really fun.
Right.
Because I think it's a mingling type of event. So not like as much dancing and on the dance floor and all that good stuff. But
no, for sure. And I've had people like bring or have for the guests the welcome party bags or boxes.
Oh yes, I've seen that too.
Pick them up there too, so that's really a nice little touch as they head home for that.
That is fun.
What decor is supposed to be at a rehearsal dinner?
In my opinion, I think it should be kind of like clean and I think the venue should speak for itself, as you know what I mean? Like,
and the rehearsal dinner shouldn't outdo the wedding.
No. But I do think that it could share, like, I'm not mad if it's, like, a different aesthetic than the wedding.
Oh, I love when it's
as long as it's not, like we're going to do purple tonight and then, like, a boho wedding.
Yeah, no, for sure. They got to definitely be cohesive. But, you know, one thing I really don't like is when they reshare everything from the rehearsal dinner to the wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's for budget reasons, but like,
and if that's what you need, then it works out great.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you mean. I like to see something different.
Same, because I'm like, well, those are the same flowers from last night.
And I think it's cool if like rehearsal dinner kind of, shows what the groom is all about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because wedding day, I'm sure the bride's like,
the bride.
I want those florals and I like that linen, and he's probably just like, happy wife, happy life, whatever you want.
I had, thinking of this, a rehearsal dinner that definitely outdid the wedding.
Really?
A few years back.
Was it awkward?
Yeah, very awkward. Like,
was there like family, like it was like intentional?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us more.
So the groom's family was very well off, I guess. Yeah. We want to say that. And so the rehearsal dinner was way over the top. And then I felt bad for the bride for wedding day because she had like nothing.
Yeah.
And so like for the rehearsal dinner, we were full planning. So I knew everything. And then for the wedding, we were only a month of. So I didn't really.
I've had a similar experience with this too.
Right. And I get that like you want it to be a nice rehearsal dinner. But yeah, of course. But if you're going to do that, the groom's family needs to pitch in and make the wedding even more amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Especially if they, have opinions and they're pitching it on both.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of, they need to show some love to the wedding too, for sure.
No, agree.
And you can always tell, like, especially, at rehearsal when you see the bride and her bridesmaids,
right?
you totally get the vibe that something's off.
Yes.
Yeah.
1000%.
That reminded me, have you ever had to with that being said, I've had something like that happen at rehearsal and the bride has asked me to tell her family that they can't do something. And it's super awkward.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No.
That's like being the bad guy. And I'm like,
it's so, and you have no idea what's going on. You're not in the family dynamic or anything. And
no, and we try to ask those questions prior. Is there any family dynamics we need to know? Do mom and dad not get along anymore? All those good things. I've definitely had people, I actually have a wedding coming up, and the bride asked me to tell her dad's new wife that she couldn't be at the house when they're getting ready. Hair and makeup.
So awkward.
I was like, I'm so sorry. That is out of my range of things.
Yeah. Because I feel like we're so team bride.
How do you say that? I was going to be so I was just thinking in my head, okay, so we'll just call her Sally. So Sally, the bride has told me that she doesn't want you at the photos while you're getting ready for hair. But she's getting hair and makeup, though. She just can't be there.
Yeah, that's awkward.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's something that you guys got to deal with.
And the same thing, this goes for the venues too. When they come to us and they want us to be the rule follower and go tell people that's not allowed. I'm like, those aren't my rules.
Yeah. Well, you could tell them.
We do have that rule. Whoever that's their rule, they need to enforce it.
Yeah. I mean, that's we're not the venue coordinator or the wedding planner. So
exactly. It's not my job to tell them they're not allowed to smoke in the gardens.
Yeah.
Sorry. Or pee in the bush. It's not my job to tell them they can't do that.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just awkward. And we don't want to be put in the awkward position because we're here to make everyone happy.
Exactly.
No.
I know some of the things I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah. But you're quick on your feet. So you're good with that fast acting.
Or sometimes I'll make a joke. I'm like, you're joking, right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing
I'll do that, but then they're looking at me like I'm serious, and I'm like, oh, you're not joking. That's awkward.
It's too funny. This is a really good one because I feel like brides get really upset with this, and this is not partially. It's all the venue's fault. So when you get married, you pick a Saturday or Friday or whatever. In the bride's mind, you assume that rehearsal's the night before, right?
Yes, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, so don't assume, but that's that's how it is. But a lot of these venues have a wedding on Friday or wedding on Saturday or wedding on Sunday. So guess what? If you're getting married on Saturday and there's a wedding on Friday, your rehearsal is not happening on Friday at 5 o'clock.
Or then they've already promised that Thursday rehearsal to the Friday wedding. So it's okay, so when are we're not doing it day of.
No.
That's for sure. That's not going to happen.
No.
But so awkward because I feel like you should go to rehearsal with your people and then you get to go to rehearsal dinner after welcome party. You shouldn't have to do rehearsal on Wednesday.
No.
So
when you're booking your venue, this is definitely for everyone out there. Go ahead and have them put on the contract what time your rehearsal is. That way you're just, ahead of time. If it's at noon on Friday, that's fine.
And it's locked in
ahead of time.
Paper trail.
Exactly.
That's another thing I've learned from Sarah. Paper trail.
Paper trail. have it in writing somewhere.
Yep.
Can you tell based off of rehearsal how the bridal party will be on the wedding day?
Yes, totally. 100%. I feel like, especially with the guys, if they're kind of rowdy at rehearsal, you expect that the next day.
Or the bridesmaids are little divas.
Yeah.
Or they think they know how to run the show.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
the best one.
Yeah. Love that.
I'll actually tell this story. So Lauren's wedding, she'll agree with me. So I didn't know Lauren at that time. Lauren, Chicago.
And her actual wedding.
Yeah, her wedding.
Oh my gosh.
She had
Lauren.
She's got some divas in the family.
I'm
pretty sure a lot of those have X's on their face now.
What were you like, oh my gosh, these people are
very need a lot of
attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There was probably 12 or 13 of them.
Oh my gosh.
And they all had these custom made dresses. And so
I'm not shocked. This is so Lauren.
2 or 3 days before they were calling me because they needed alterations because they didn't do it prior. at rehearsal, they were just very like needy and asking a lot of questions and like.
Lauren doesn't give diva to me though.
No. She doesn't. It was the girls.
The custom dresses, I totally see. 100, and I can see her having like 12 to 13 bridesmaids.
Yeah.
But,
that was definitely one crowd that I remember. I was like, oh my God, we need like the dressing service just for these.
And now
these
look at you guys, like now, besties.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I love when at rehearsal, like you can kind of tell like the vibes from the girls, like they're gonna be cool and like they're like yes, like they love you and.
Or I love when there's one bridesmaid or maid of honor and like. They're gonna like help you. They're like, "What can I do for you? How can I help you?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is amazing."
Because sometimes, like, you do have to go. Can you hear the rain?
So a lot of times at rehearsal, I'll try to either go if I know which girl's closest to the bride, like get their phone number, and that way I can text them back and forth on wedding day, or if they need something, the bride needs something, because we're not always like with them, especially if they're getting ready at a house and the venues, somewhere else. I mean, we're checking on them, but we're not there like.
No, I agree.
24/7. So.
And sometimes that just puts like them at ease too. Like I couldn't imagine being like a maid of honor as a wedding planner and not planning the wedding. It would probably drive me crazy. So like that would give me a sense of like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd be needy, but just like the fact that they did have my number if they needed anything.
Right.
Yeah. But I think there's definitely other people like that out there.
Let's see. Who is supposed to be invited to the rehearsal dinner?
All your like VIPs, I feel like,
immediate family, bridal party, siblings.
And then like you said, like opening it up for welcome party for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think people get offended when they're not, in that rehearsal dinner group? Because it's already tough. Like making a guest list already is tough. Right. Because you can't invite this person without this person and yada, yada, yada.
I think that's why you do the welcome party. Then no one's offended.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people have for sure. 1,000%. No, for sure.
But I think just keeping it, family and bridal party just makes it simple. And then it's like gives you an excuse almost. You're like, oh, it's just family and bridal party.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Do you have any other stories about rehearsal or rehearsal
No, not
dinners?
really. I really just love when our clients do have, like, they hire us for wedding day, but we do get to work with them for rehearsal dinner too. Just because it really does make wedding day, like, so much more fun. Because you've kind of, like, you make that connection with them on wedding day, but then it's just one day. So, like, you're like, okay, well, love you, bye, see you never,
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I agree. Doing the rehearsal, like, it kind of eases them in. Because wedding day, I mean, we're not bossy, but we're there to tell them where to be,
about
what
business.
Time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like, just
I think it makes them, like, trust us more, too. Because they see, like, oh, they nailed this. Like,
yeah,
this is light work.
Or I think probably all these bridesmaids and grooms when they've been in other weddings, so they've had a bad experience with another planner, and they assume that we're gonna be like that planner, and then they're like, "Oh my God, you're totally like amazing."
Yeah, that's like kind of the best and the worst. It's the best when it's like, "Oh, like you're amazing," and you're not nothing like that. But I feel like some brides can self-sabotage, and they're like, "Oh, like my friend's wedding, her planner sucked," and blah, 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 and I don't want you to be like that. And I'm like, girl, we're not. Like,
exactly. And it's just like going to different restaurants. I mean, you can have a good experience or you can have a bad experience.
But we literally are the best, so I'm not even worried about it.
I love it.
Yeah, but that's our take on rehearsal dinners and welcome parties. And
so tell everybody where they can find us on our new Instagram.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy that I'm the one that get to do it. So I feel like I've talked about Threads for like such a long time, but our podcast Instagram, This Takes the Cake, it will literally be your favorite Instagram account on Instagram.
Yes.
So
it's fun.
The vibes are there. They're vibing. It's so good. So it's at This Takes the Cake podcast.
But we're going to get the other one eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
We will. We always get what we want. It's fine.
That's right. We don't take no for an answer.
But you can follow us on Stunning and Brilliant Events.
Yes.
On Instagram, Facebook. Are we on Twitter? No, we're not.
No Twitter.
Twitter's not a thing anymore.
I've never been a Twitter fan.
Just kidding, not that. But Threads.
And you can find Caroline in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, come to Tampa. I'm literally can't wait to hang out with you guys. So, we'll bring the podcast to Tampa soon.
Yes, of course.
It'll be fun.
Awesome. All right.
But we love you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on.